All right, guys, thank you for joining us. We have a slight change with MCs. I'm Lionel Williams. I'll be your MC here today. I would like to introduce a unicorn. No, literally, he's the co-founder of Unicorneth. His name is Griff Green. I'd like to give it up for you guys.
Woo-woo! This is my horn right here. I not only did I co-found Unicorn.eth, back in the day, I also did this thing called TheDAO. And the DAO is a classic story of something that could only happen in crypto. We were the largest crowdfund ever at that point in time. We raised $150 million and really proved the concept of capital formation in Ethereum. And then we were very famously hacked pretty quickly. But in that hack, in a story, something that could only happen in crypto, we were able to recover all the funds, give everyone the money back, and somehow everyone involved actually made money, even the hacker. And now things get even crazier. The DAO Security Fund is being born, and we have $150 million still. I don't know. The DAO is just a crazy story. Now, the way this happened, and then let's just do a quick recap for people that may not have been hanging out in 2016. The DAO raised $150 million, but at the time, that was 14% of all Ether in existence. So this was 12 million Ether, because Ether was only $12.50. Then the hard fork rescued the hack, right? But the way the hard fork worked is that people who had DAO tokens, they could get 1 Ether for every 100 DAO tokens. But this only represented about 97% of the money that was put into the DAO. The other 3% was distributed by a team that I led. I basically led the entire recovery effort for the DAO. I mean, the hard fork, I only coordinated a little bit with the Ethereum Foundation, let the nerds cook, you know? But for the recovering the funds for that 3%, I managed that whole process, and I also managed the process for the White Hat Group, which rescued the other 70% that the hacker didn't steal. And when the hard fork happened, a parallel dimension opened up where the hack still happened, and they called that chain Ether Classic. And so we had 10% of all Ether Classic, and the hacker had 4% of all Ether Classic. And so we recovered that ETC and sent it out back to people, and that's how everyone made money. So fast forward 10 years, about 99.3% of the Ether from the hard fork was claimed by DAO token holders. The other 0.7% is like mostly people who lost their keys or people that are hodling DAO hoping for a numismatic value. The other main recovery system was the Curator multisig. We were able to distribute about 80% of those funds to the rightful owners. And the White Hat Group distributed about 85% of those funds to people on ETC. Now, this $150 million, it's actually, the DAO has way over $300 million in its current contracts. But this 150 is coming from these edge case funds, this 0.6% of Ether that the DAO had. Why are we contributing to security? Well, that was always the intention. When me and the other 5 volunteers that stepped up to manage the edge case recovery system, solutions, we put it in a blog post, hey, after January 31st, 2017, the unclaimed Ether will be sent to a not-for-profit entity to support smart contract security. We never did that. So it was a strong hodl, though, right? A good investment. And the reason it came about now is sort of out of necessity. First, PC from Seal 911, co-founder of Seal 911. And if you don't know Seal 911, if you ever get hacked, find the Seal 911 bot, talk to them, they'll talk you down and protect you. This is probably the biggest public good Ethereum has to offer. It's like anyone who gets hacked, Seal 911 is the 911 to call. Well, he was talking to Fade from Wintermute and said, hey, man, we need money. And Fade was like, dude, I saw $20 million in this multi-sig, and maybe it was supposed to be donated to Ethereum security, but it never happened. I think it's Griff's. You should talk to him. It's obviously not mine, but. So then PC messages me, I'm at Burning Man, and I don't usually answer my phone, but dude, when the founder of SEAL 911 calls you, you're kind of scared shitless. So you respond. Luckily, I wasn't hacked, which is what I thought. And he was like, hey, what do you think about this? I was like, we'll talk when I get out of the dust. And I started talking to other curators, the other 5 volunteers that were managing these funds. And we were debating it because it's kind of nice not to do anything, right? Like, just let people claim it, and it's fine. I mean, I want to support smart contract security, but it's a little scary. We didn't have a legal entity. We didn't have any of that stuff. 2016 was different times. And then the Bouncer hack happened. And all of a sudden, like, AI supporting black hats and hacking old code. Like, the contracts that we're holding at the time in August, Ether was like twice the price it is now. We were managing over $300 million in contracts that were written when Solidity was like a couple months old. Like, there were definitely bugs. We just didn't know what they were, but they're probably bugs. And then, not to mention, we had 6 keys that were public for 10 years. And this is before MetaMask, okay? There were JSON files on our computers. It was super sketch. And we needed to do something because doing nothing was actually a huge risk. And we didn't have a professional solution for managing $300 million worth of crypto. So what we did is we were like, staking. We can stake the Ether, earn rewards from staking, and actually use that to professionally protect these systems, the funds, and we'll have so much left over that we can actually create a security fund. And that's how the DAO Security Fund was born. What is security? Well, it's all this stuff. There's a lot more than smart contract security that we need to support in this ecosystem. So much money goes into audits. But what supports wallet UX? What helps threat monitoring? There's a lot that comes into security. Luckily, though, we have a lot of money, so it's pretty awesome. Like, we have in the DAO Curator multi-sig, the 20 million that Fade found. Like, that was that we have to start our fund, right? And we also have the big portion of funds actually comes from the extra balance withdrawal contract. This is withdrawals that we're keeping open. We're keeping all the withdrawals open. But this is the big pot. This is people who paid extra during the DAO token sale. They paid more than 1 ETH for 100 DAO tokens. And so actually, Nick Johnson tokenized those claims back in the day. And then we have this withdrawal contract that people can claim, and they can still claim today. Those claims are open, and they're going to be open forever. But to protect those funds, we removed most of them, all but 1,300 Ether, and started staking them. And that's where we're going to get most of the funds to fund Ethereum security. And of course, we're not alone in this. The Ethereum Foundation is our partners in crime, like, all the time. We're gonna work with them to actually support Ethereum Foundation, to support Ethereum security. And we're already working with them. Actually, in the same week, we both gave a huge donation to SEAL. Those heroes that I just mentioned that are constantly helping people who are hacked and phished. They don't have a great funding stream because they're helping people who get hacked. Like, you don't usually tip after you've been hacked. So we're providing the funding, but the heroes are on there in the front line. And this is really the way I see how Ethereum security gets funds. There's executors out there, probably in this audience, that are supporting in OPSEC and threat monitoring and all the cool things that we need to secure Ethereum. And then there's the Ethereum Foundation and the DAO Security Fund funding these projects. But we're funding it in very different ways. So the Ethereum Foundation is kind of top-down funding. They pick the big bets, they have all the research, and they make their calls. We're trying to fund things from the bottom up. We're doing it the DAO way. We're holding true to our name. So we're going to work with the ecosystem to really figure out how do we fund these things. And there's a couple levels to that. The first level is, of course, the curators. So these are the people that we added to the curator multisig. They're pretty cool. They're pretty good people. Vitalik, Taylor, Jordy, PC, Avsa, me, and Lansky. We all have our specialties, but there's not, I could spend 20 minutes just talking about what rock stars these guys are. But in the end, this is how funding will happen with the DAO Security Fund. We'll have an application for round operators. These are people that are building DAO tooling. Think like a futurarchy project or deep funding or quadratic funding. Someone who implements these kind of tools. They're going to apply and say, this is how our tool works. And then those 7 rock stars that I had on the screen before, they're going to decide the scope of the round. Like, is it post-quantum research or is it white hats? They will decide the scope, the budget, how much money we're going to spend, and which round operator we're going to use for that round. We'll probably do rounds quarterly. The EF is going to work with us to do eligibility criteria. And then the round operators will, set up the round, market it, bring in people to apply. There's going to be like the round operators apply, but then the round operators have projects apply. And the real crux of any kind of decentralized distribution is in the eligibility criteria. As long as we're good with eligibility criteria, wherever the money goes, it's going to good places, right? So this is another place where we really want support from the ecosystem, experts, security partners. We need help applying the eligibility criteria to make sure we only have good actors in the round. And Giveth is going to support in everything else. Giveth is basically doing the round operations, the operations for the DAO Security Fund, and supporting to keep like a solid thread around each round operator. And then, of course, we actually run the round. So running the round, in DAO-style distributions, there's voters. There's people who, our goal is to stay above Dunbar number, above 150 stakeholders, giving input into each decision. And to do that, I'm announcing something today. ETH security badges. So this is for the top 200 Ethereum security researchers. We're going to distribute 200 NFTs. One person, one vote, not any of the crazy, monetary DAO stuff where you have a token that goes up and down. This NFT is not for trading. It allows us to get the experts, the brains, the big brains that know what we need in the security space to actually participate and decide where do these funds go. There's other benefits to having this NFT, like if you happen to be a white hat and you hack a project with that coin, just rescue the money, hey, I got my NFT. Everyone will know you're a good guy. It'll be a cool NFT, and I wouldn't be surprised if people put this on their LinkedIn. It's kind of cool to be labeled one of the top Ethereum security researchers. So that's what's happening. This is the DAO Security Fund. And this is really a bottom-up effort. That means I want to talk to you. I want to know, what do we need to do in security? How do we make Ethereum better than the banks? I got in here 10 years ago, and I thought by now we would have something that we could offer to people that is better than a bank account. And I think the big problem we have is it's just not safe enough. Everyone in here knows someone who was phished or hacked or lost money in one way, bought some stupid shitcoin. That was a scam, right? I don't know very many people who have problems with their bank accounts. If we fix security, we can make Ethereum the financial backbone of society, maybe even the civil society backbone, the infrastructure that we use for everything. And that's the goal of the DAO Security Fund. So thank you guys so much for listening to my rant.